Okay, so you've come to the point where your students can do a pretty reliable job of forming the pencil bow hold on their own with very, very little, if any, prompting from you in terms of the finger placement, the thumb, knuckle, the circle, and those other things that we talked about with the pencil bow hold. Now is the time to go ahead and allow them to transfer that bow hold to the bow itself, but even so, we're not going to quite get to what I call the professional bow hold just yet. We're going to use an intermediary step, making use of the balance point, which hopefully by this point we found. Go ahead and review that video on finding the balance point or balance point day. So what we'll do is we'll take the bow and we'll have the students hold the bow purposely in the wrong hand. So first thing I'll have them do is have them wave at me with their left hand just to kind of make sure that, we're all on the same page, so to speak. So we'll take the bow, we'll hold it in the wrong hand, and we will hold it by the frog with the hair pointed away from us. And you'll see why in just a little bit here, okay? And at this point, their bow hand should be free. So have them wave at you with their right hand. And then we'll take that bow hand, make sure they're seated for this, and we'll go through the steps very, very similar to what we did for the pencil bow. So we'll shake out that hand, have them flop it, palm facing up on their knee, make sure those fingers are nice and relaxed, and we'll have them point to the balance point of the bow, or somehow re-identify, remind themselves where that balance point is, because kind of like what the pencil did, we'll have the balance point go right into that top line of the middle finger. We'll lay it down this way. Okay, now we're at the point where you should see why we had the hair facing the wrong way. When we lay the bow down, now the hair is pointed out, and so everything's actually kind of angled correctly here. So now, here we go. Just like with the pencil bow, the stick is laying into that top line of the middle finger. We will wiggle the thumb, make sure it's nice and loose, and we will let the tip of the thumb go towards that top line. But now check this out. Here's why we were so picky about them having that thumb knuckle pointed out. Now the back of the thumb is actually going to lean against the horsehair. Okay, so that's very, very important. It's going to add a lot of relaxation to the bow and help them starting out. It's also going to help with a lot of advanced skills down the line. Now, at some point, you're going to have, hopefully you'll have some students notice that you seem to be contradicting yourself, because one of our first lessons with the bow was, of course, never touch the bow hair. Well, now's where you get to explain, yeah, there are going to be a few times when I'm going to allow you to just gently allow your fingers to make contact with the horsehair. That's especially true for cellos and basses. But in any event, for the violins and violas, we want the back of the thumb resting against the horsehair, which is a nice tactile check on good bow position, because of course, if the thumb is doing a banana thumb like this, well, now the back of the thumb is not making contact with the hair. So curved thumb, back of the thumb against the hair. Okay, then everything else is pretty much the way we went through it with the pencil bow. We'll take the bow, we'll flip it upside down, and here it's really important that we support down the stick with the other hand. So that, because whenever you're holding the bow horizontally, gravity really weighs on it, so the hand wants to tense up. So to relieve that, we'll brace the bow on the stick here with the left hand, so it's going to help us out. Okay, we'll take that index finger, lay it down sideways. Okay, lazy cousin Earl does its thing there, and then the pinky stands on top of the stick right next to the hand. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like to you from the teacher view, as you're looking straight on at your students, and then this is the view the students are going to have. Okay. Now notice, as a point of reference, your student's winding may not look exactly like this, where I've got the leather here and the silver or the nickel here. Some of them it's just going to be like one black piece of plastic, and it's very important that for most hand sizes, their hand hasn't quite made it to this part yet, the winding above the frog. That's going to give you a sense that they're pretty darn close to that balance point. And the reason that's important, the reason we do the balance point first, is because it's just easy on the hand, it's easy on the arm as they're learning bow technique, because the weight is even on both sides of the stick, so it'll be easy to introduce themselves to that with the bow. Later on down the road, what I do with students is, once this looks pretty darn good, we take that same bow hold and now we just slide it down. I don't go quite to the frog yet, but I slide it down. I mean, you can use your own reference point. What I do is I have them go until, I think you can see this here, until the thumb reaches the top of the winding. Okay, and then I'll let them hang out here for, maybe a week or two. And then once it looks like they've about got it, then this is a really big deal. I get to the class and we make a big deal out of this. Now they get to move to the professional bow hold. So what all that means is you take exactly what you have here and you slide it down to the frog. Okay, now where to the frog? Well, now the thumb, the outside of the thumb here is going to run in There, it's going to run into that, to the top of the frog. Hopefully you can see that in the shot here. Okay, and then the other fingers are proportional. They haven't really gone anywhere. Depending on the student's age, if they're getting close to adult-sized hands, you may see that their ring finger actually lays somewhat over the frog, and that's good. It's a nice, really comfortable thing for them. A lot of students, by the time they're adult size, their pinky will be kind of hovering over the little circle here that a lot of the frogs have. Not all of them do. Some of the frogs are just kind of plain black, but if they do have that kind of, that eyelet there, that circle, that's a nice reference point too. But again, I want to emphasize that you'll see that when students get something close to adult size hands. For the smaller hands, all of the stuff on the outside will be kind of moved in a little bit. But in any event, that is my step to, or that is my process rather, to transfer the bow hold to the balance point. And really from there, it's just a matter of waiting, however long it takes, a week or two, to gradually move your way towards the frog.